Jeff, were you surprised? Was your jaw on the floor when you saw the $8.5 million AAV attached to Thatcher Demko's extension?
Yeah, I think a little bit surprised. Not surprised that a deal got done. Certainly the breadcrumbs had been out there for the last couple of days. But you have to remember, this is a guy that played 23 games for the Vancouver Canucks last season. Like, I thought the prudent play would have been wait to see 20 starts from him into the new year. He's had one more year on his contract at $5 million. So the rush to get this done today, I think, is maybe one of the surprises in all of this. And then, of course, yeah, $8.5 million, which is essentially the same amount that Connor Hellebuyck is getting. Now, a year ago, Demko finished runner-up to Hellebuyck in the Vezina voting, and we know when he's on and healthy, and that's the huge key here, he is one and can be one of the top goaltenders in the National Hockey League. But because he played so little last year and 3 straight seasons that have been ended by injury, there's a ton of risk here on the part of the Vancouver Canucks. Now, the good news is all reports are that Thatcher Demko is having a healthy summer. He's already back on the ice. He has resumed the sort of training schedule that he had in years gone by. Of course, last year showed up at training camp. That's where we all learned about the popliteus muscle in his knee that kept him out until December. So, he's going to be 30 in December. And I think this is, it's fair that part of the Thatcher Demko story is his health and his availability. If he's there and he is 100%, then yeah, I mean, this can turn out to be a value deal for the Vancouver Canucks. But along with Kevin Lankin and 13 plus tied up in goaltending, that's a fair chunk of change for 2 puck stoppers.
Let's talk about the other extension, Conor Garland, 6x6. This one had been rumored for quite some time, but what an interesting path he's had as a Vancouver Canuck. I mean, there was a point where there was an agency switch, I believe. There was talk that he had permission to seek a trade, and now flash forward, I guess what would it be, maybe 18 months since then? He's signing long-term and sticking around in Vancouver until he's 35.
Yeah, and a fascinating player, unique just at his stature, at the work rate, and remarkably durable for a guy that's undersized. I think he's missed 10 games in 4 years as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. So he shows up and he competes, and he's remarkably consistent as well. He's a 50-point guy. You know what you're getting out of Conor Garland. I have no issues with the contract in this new cap environment. The term may be a touch long because he's going to be 30 when that deal kicks in. My issue is they need better players than Conor Garland. And so Conor Garland's been here for 4 years. This team really hasn't done an awful lot in that time. That's not a knock on Conor Garland. They need to support Conor Garland. They need better players. And that's what makes a day like today fascinating. And if nothing happens for them, then, what's their plan B in terms of the trade route? But Conor Garland was a guy that thrived under Rick Tocchet for the second time in his career, broke into the NHL under Tocchet in Arizona, had a great relationship with the head coach. Here in Vancouver, of course, Tocchet's not here anymore. So does that change the dynamic in any way? I guess we'll find out when Adam Foote coaches his first game in October. But I think there's a consistency that allowed the Canucks to feel confident going long-term with Conor Garland. And so, as I said, a 50-point guy in this economy, $6 million, not an overpayment. And I think Conor Garland's the kind of player that can deliver on that deal for the duration of the contract.
And even if in the back half of it, he's a third-line player, but a good one at that, I think you're going to be at that point in the NHL looking around the league and seeing probably a lot of third-line guys who make $6 million. So I don't think it would be egregious at that point at all. So they keep Demko, they keep Garland, but Canucks fans are pounding the table saying, what are we adding? Who's going to help us get better next season? And just looking at their cap picture, they currently sit with $7 million in cap space. That's with 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 2 goalies on the board. There was a part of me that was going, man, if they were to move off from Demko, maybe go with Seelovs as Lankinen's backup, they could have been sitting with north of $10 million in cap space. That's obviously not the route they're going. So what kind of market do you think Patrick Allvin's in? What's he going to be looking to do with that $7 million?
Well, they need help up front. There's no doubt. I mean, obviously a ton of questions around Elias Paterson and which Elias Paterson are they getting back, the 102-point guy or the guy that scuffled to 45 points last year in a disastrous season, and Philip Hedl, who they got in the JT Miller deal. Health is an obvious concern with him. And so, massive red flags and question marks around the guys that are their top 2 centers as it stands right now. So I think they're looking to support the center ice position, but probably don't want to lock into a massive overpayment, probably willing to spend more than give massive term on a day like today. So we're going to see what happens. But obviously, as the minutes go by, players coming off the board, It's a pretty thin crop out there. They've been linked to Mikael Granlund, as a lot of teams have. Jack Roslovic is another name out there. We'll see what happens. But if that doesn't pan out for them, then that becomes the real question of what does Patrick Allvin and this front office do to upgrade? Because as I said, bringing Thatcher Demko back, fine. Bringing Conor Garland back, fine. But they've been here, and this team isn't good enough. This team needs more, a whole lot more. And even though Abbotsford just won the Calder Cup, it's not like they've got star power waiting in the wings. The hope is that Jonathan Lecker-Mackey develops into a scorer at the NHL level. But otherwise, that Calder Cup really was won on the backs of veterans and tweeners and guys that stepped up for the farm club. And they may get a shot lower in the lineup, but in terms of driving play and producing at the NHL level, this team needs a ton of help. So where they go, we shall find out, I suppose, starting in about 5 minutes' time.
Yeah, and the Canucks obviously cleaning up a little bit of that work with the Calder Cup run. Arshdeep Bains, Atu Ratu, a whole bunch of signings announced yesterday, but you don't think this is a plan where Allvin and Rutherford are going to sit there, cross their fingers, and just hope internal improvements can guide them to where they need to go?
No, and look, they're governed by this notion of they got to prove to Quinn Hughes that this is a place that he should want to be for the duration of his career. He's got 2 years left on one of the best bargain deals in the National Hockey League, but at this time next year, he's eligible to talk extension with this hockey club or possibly force the team's hand. So this feels like a big season where they have to prove to their captain that, yes, they've got a plan and a vision and that it's starting to unfold. And yet, as we sit here a few minutes before free agency, that vision and that plan, it is tough to sort of follow at this stage. But hey, Patrick Allvin, maybe he pulls a rabbit out of his hat on a day like today.
You and the crew of Canucks Army, by the way, and Rinkwide did a fantastic job covering that Abbotsford Canucks playoff run. J-Pat, appreciate your time. Thanks for popping on.
Thanks, Tyler.
Hey, hockey fans, if you enjoyed that video, then make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. We have you covered for everything you need. Exclusive interviews on The Sheet with Jeff Merrick, all the latest hockey news on Daily Faceoff Live, and you can always get your morning started with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohn on Morning Cup of Hockey. Don't miss a minute. Hit that subscribe button.